Hey gang, welcome to the Petersen Automotive Museum. We're at the Bond in Motion exhibit. We're going to cruise this entire place and check out all the Bond goodness. So let's go. Now right out of the gate, as soon as you show up here in the parking lot, they got a ginormous helicopter here. And of course, this was flown in from Russia with love by two Spectre henchmen to chase James Bond and Tatiana Romanova. The helicopter eventually disables the truck that Bond and the girl are in, but then Bond leads the helicopter to a nearby hillside where he shoots one of the henchmen, who drops a grenade into the cockpit where the helicopter explodes into flames. So right out of the gate, you are getting a very impressive vehicle right here in the parking lot. Now let's head inside. As you come into the lobby, you have some really great real-life versions of Lightning McQueen and the van from Onward. And this guy coming out of the gift shop, that's one of my best friends in the world, Joe. What's going on, Joe? So even when you're here at a car show, you still end up finding physical media. Check it out. At a time, Blu-ray of the Back to the Future documentary, very cool. But it's like $22, so we're gonna pass on this, but it's very cool seeing it here. Now, before we actually head in, check this bad boy out. It's the Chariot from Lost in Space. So let me tell you about this thing real quick. In 1965, we were given Lost in Space. And guys, when I watched that show, this was the one thing that every time it came on, I was spellbound. I thought the Chariot was like the coolest ride out there. And I totally wish I had one and just cruise around in it. That'd be great. Let me give you a little background on this thing. The original TV Chariot was lost on Earth for many years. So John Adanellis of Boston's Elevator Interior Design fabricated this exquisite replica as the ultimate fan homage, built atop of a Thiokol Sprite Snowcat, I'm sure I got that wrong, of the same vintage as the original 1965 Chariot. I'm digging this console here. It's very 60s sci-fi with all the buttons and stuff. And check out these killer treads, man. This vehicle was one of the most iconic science fiction vehicles ever, and I'm stoked it was here when I came to see the James Bond exhibit. Speaking of, let's get in there and check it out. Before you come to the actual Bond portion of the exhibit, there are two other floors filled with amazing classic cars and cool stuff like that. So you browse through these and then you head on down, and then bam, you come to the stairwell and there's the Bond exhibit right at the bottom on the first floor, starting off with the amazing and iconic Aston Martin DB5. And as you come down to the bottom of the stairs here, you see this enormous 007 steel structure, which then takes us right here to the Aston Martin with Sean Connery, right at the beginning of the exhibit. This Aston Martin DB5 is probably the most iconic car James Bond has ever driven, and is loaded with some killer gadgets thanks to Q, such as the machine guns that pop out from behind the lights, the rear wheel hub tire scythes, the smoke screen, the oil slick sprayers, the bulletproof shield behind the rear window, and the three-way revolving front license plate. And no detail is left out because hidden inside the shifter is that red button that activates the ejector seat. On each exhibit, they do have an information plaque, so I'm going to try to give you a little information on each item as we come across them. For example, here's the tow sled that was used in Thunderball, which was used by both Bond and the villain Largo in the film's underwater fight sequences. In the movie You Only Live Twice, Bond is flying the now famous helicopter called Little Nelly, and he is attacked by 4 Spectre patrol helicopters, and this accurately detailed scale model is one of the 2 surviving helicopters of the 6 built for this film. Here's the 1969 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertible. This is the one that James Bond, aka George Lazenby, drove in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, along with Diana Rigg's character Tracy Draco. They can be seen driving this awesome car throughout the film, including the pre-title sequence and the main car chase. Here's the Bath-O sub, built by Barris Custom Industries, aka George Barris, the guy who created the Batmobile for the 1966 TV show. This was designed by Ken Adam, probably one of the most famous production designers for James Bond. And this mini sub was used in the film Diamonds Are Forever, starring Sean Connery. And one of the coolest car stunts ever to be captured on film, this AMC Hornet X performed a corkscrew jump, otherwise known as Astro Spiral Jump, for the film The Man with the Golden Gun. This stunt is absolutely amazing. Here's the classic 1971 Ford Mustang Mach 1 that Connery drove in Diamonds Are Forever. It's known for its classic popping up on two wheels on one side when it enters the alleyway and coming out on the other two wheels when it pops out on the other side. And here's the 1971 Honda ATC that Bond hijacks in order to escape Willard Wyatt's henchmen. Another great element that this exhibit has are all these video screens that are near most of these vehicles. For example, like this 1973 Glass-drawn GT150 that James Bond jumps across the street in Live and Let Die. Also on display are some really great storyboards showcasing a lot of the art from the films. For example, right here, my personal favorite James Bond car is this Lotus Esprit S1. Also called Wet Nelly from The Spy Who Loved Me. This, of course, is the iconic car that transforms from a regular car into this submarine car, which is loaded with rocket launchers that can take out the bad guys that are trying to kill you from the surface. In 1977, jet skis were known as wet bikes, and Roger Moore got to ride one of the very first ones here in The Spy Who Loved Me. It was a Spirit Marine prototype powered by a Suzuki two-stroke engine. I was looking to see if there were any special buttons or anything on top, but as you can see, it's just a pretty standard top. One of my favorite James Bond movies is For Your Eyes Only, and this car went through a hilarious car chase, got all beat up, banged up, totally survived, and I dig how they show you where the camera crew sits on the front of the vehicle. Here's a quick shot of the interior. More great For Your Eyes Only vehicles continue with this 1977 GP Super Beach Buggy, which was made on a chassis of a 1959 Volkswagen. This is the vehicle the henchmen were in as they ran down and killed the Countess on the beach. In the movie Octopussy, we can see James Bond making a getaway here in one of those auto rickshaws, otherwise known as a tuk-tuk taxi. And the reason he was aboard to begin with is because after beating the exiled Afghan Camille Khan at backgammon, James Bond had to make a swift getaway by jumping aboard one of these auto rickshaws. Up next, we have one of the biggest things on display is this submarine, and right in front of it is one of the tow sleds used to transport the stolen nuclear missiles to an underwater tipple in the movie Never Say Never Again. And just behind it is the Neptune submarine from For Your Eyes Only. Try to take a peek inside, see if we can see through this window here. It's a little tough viewing inside. Can't see a whole lot this way, so we're gonna swing around to the front here where we got a nice big opening so we can look inside and check out all the goodies. And like I showed you before, there's still these TV screens on hand to show you what it looked like in the movie. And we don't just stop at submarines, we have full-size boats and hang gliders. This one, of course, in particular, as seen in the film Moonraker, where James Bond is being chased down by the excellent henchman Jaws, played by Richard Kiel. And here in the back of the boat, you can even see the detail. They have fake bullet holes there, some little stickers. And tucked here in the back are the mines that drop out of the back of the boat that eventually will wind up as a nice little surprise waiting for the villains who are chasing Bond. This boat doesn't just have bombs attached to it, it also has a fully functional hang glider. Check out the priceless look on Jaws' face. We move on from Roger Moore to Timothy Dalton, starting with this Cessna Skyhawk plane from License to Kill, and this car from Living Daylights. And we once again see the Aston Martin, this time a V8. This V8 was equipped with wheel hub lasers, dual targeting Stinger missiles, and a rear jet engine booster, which was used along with the retractable outrigger system and spiked ice tires to propel the V8 on snow and ice. This was one of the fiberglass shells built specifically to film many of the vehicle's Q-branch gadgets and the deployment of the hydraulic outrigger skis. We now come to the first car from the new generation of James Bond films, Casino Royale starring Daniel Craig. This 2006 Aston Martin DBS was driven by him in that film, and it also holds the distinction for holding a Guinness World Record for the most cannon rolls ever completed in a car. This happened when he came around the corner and he saw the body of Vesper Lynn tied up on the ground, and to avoid her, he swerved and the car began flipping and flipping, and it flipped 7 times, earning itself a Guinness World Record. Up next is the Q-Jet boat from The World Is Not Enough, starring Pierce Brosnan. The cool thing about this boat is it was designed to be able to do a barrel roll as it launched itself over another boat in order to take out its machine gunnery. And there were 15 originally built for production, and there's only 6 Q-boats left, and this particular Q-boat is the one that performed the barrel roll that you saw in the film. Here we have the Parahawk, which is a versatile paraglider snowmobile hybrid, which is attached to a parachute that's propelled through the air by the huge propeller that you see here. And there were 18 of these Parahawks built for the film, but only 3 were used for scenes on the ground. It's also interesting to note that the flying Parahawks were not equipped with a Polaris snowmobile like the ground versions because it would have made them too heavy to fly. Next up is the BMW R1200C motorcycle that Bond used to escape Carver's henchmen in Tomorrow Never Dies, while Wei Lin rides on the front.
Don't get any ideas.
I'd never dream of it.
Up next is this BMW 750iL from Tomorrow Never Dies. This is the only 4-door sedan ever to be used by the Q branch, and it's loaded. Continuing the BMW trend in The World Is Not Enough, James Bond drives this BMW Z8 to Zukovsky's Caviar Factory, where he uses the remote that's embedded in the ignition key to get closer to his position, where he then fires off a surface-to-air missile to destroy one of the helicopters. And getting back to the Aston Martin in Die Another Day, this V12 Vanquish, also nicknamed the Vanish, features an adaptive camouflage effect with little tiny cameras on all sides that project an image onto a light-emitting polymer skin on the opposite side, making the car appear invisible. And it's also totally loaded with heat-seeking missiles, spiked tires, and these killer machine guns. Not to be undone, the last car along this back wall is also from Die Another Day, this time driven by the henchman Zhao. And this Jaguar XKR is totally loaded with an impressive arsenal, including door-mounted missiles, mortars in the trunk, battering rams, and rockets in the grille. But let's not forget this badass rear-mounted Gatling gun. The last transport to be used in Die Another Day is this Switchblade glider. It was used to carry James Bond and NSA agent Jinx, played by Halle Berry, to glide over South Korea and fly undetected into North Korea. This full-size model of the Switchblade was used in the filming and was the only one that was used in an aerial drop. This 2008 Aston Martin DBS was used in the opening mid-chase pre-credit sequence of Quantum of Solace. To film the sequence, a total of 7 Aston Martin vehicles were pushed to their limit, and this car is seen with continuity damage that was added to all 7 coupes, making them appear to be the same car. And the final item on display here is this 2015 Aston Martin DB10, which was developed for the film Spectre. And this Aston Martin was built by the car company's design and engineering team in just 6 months. This DB10 marks the first time that Aston Martin has created a car specifically for a Bond film. And only 10 examples of this DB10 were built at Aston Martin's Graydon, United Kingdom headquarters. Well, that's going to do it for the tour of this amazing Bond in Motion official collection of original James Bond vehicles. I want to thank you so much for watching. Do me a favor and hit like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a blast putting this together for you, and I'll catch you later.